All
Streams
right.
live.
Uh, so, welcome to Team Futurism. My name is Peter Clark. I'm here with Devin Carson, and we're going to start out today just talking about, slow news
Something
day
light.
yet
Yeah, something
again.
light.
So Venezuela, what's up?
It's doing fine, right? Doing
Doing
great.
good. Yeah, I woke up this morning, probably like everybody, and Maduro. It wasn't just kind of like, I think that we kind of knew last night that like some bombs were dropping or something like that, but it was
Yeah,
just kind of like this
I
this
was
weird Trump
praying.
phenomenon of just like who knows, like literally who knows. It could be anything, it could be nothing, it could
Yeah,
be the
yeah,
end of the world, like literally who knows.
yeah.
I didn't think anything of it when it's like, oh, bombs dropping, okay, and then like the news story this morning was like, oh, Maduro is like captured, like going to New York City to be like prosecuted. It's like, I did not see
Yeah,
that coming. Did anybody? Like,
I did. I
you
did.
did?
You know
Okay.
why? Because Sagar saw it coming, and I'm a breaking points guy.
Oh, is that what he was predicting?
He's been on it for months. He's like, all of this stuff. I wish I could do a good Sagar impression, but he's all of this stuff it's all leading to regime change. He's like, he clocked it months ago. He was like, yeah, this
Interesting.
is this is
Good
a
for him.
regime change operation. And I also saw the news last night and had an inkling of suspicion, but I think I allowed the pleasant cognitive dissonance that I allowed to occupy my mind take over for the evening, because I was like, oh, well, maybe it's just coincidental. Maybe there's some kind of terrorist situation, and or something crazy is going on in Venezuela that's not America related. And I, on the way back from the dentist this morning, we listened to a lot of the kind of brief that Trump gave, and then tried to get a spread of Republican and liberal news media about what has happened. So I think we got most of the story here. Were you as enraged as I was? I was enraged. I was actually kind of surprised by how angry I got listening to it.
Oh, that's interesting. I
Mm.
mean, I think that like the media sources you consume, like, well, because I was just like seeing tweets, funny tweets, right? This is my
Oh, got
entry
it.
of like
I
the
was just
memes.
listening to Trump. I was like,
But yeah, I think that my impression
just
would have been
him.
completely different if I if I had
Uh-huh.
if I had woken up to Trump's voice. I would have been enraged as well.
Yeah.
The memes are good. We got some quality memes happening out of this,
Oh,
and so that
sure.
that is how I experienced this from the jump. But my number one point of rage, if we're going to call it rage, is just the fact of how Donald Trump handled this.
Oh, yeah. It's
Because
really
dude,
disgusting.
if you know anything about America and like what we're about, it's like the president. Not that any of this shit
That's the
matters.
most that's
Apparently,
the
none
most
of this shit
American
matters.
thing I've ever heard you say. That's awesome.
But like we have three branches of the government, and like the key
Yeah.
word there is equal branches of government, and like this is like the whole thing shuts down and stops working if one of them overtakes the other, right? And we're just like sitting by, and like this is just one more moment where Trump is just kind of like bulldozing his way through that whole entire system. That, I mean, I don't want to necessarily get sidetracked on that, but like
Mm.
that specifically is,
Mhm.
man, that comes home hard for me in this specific news story.
Yeah, war power rests with the Congress, guys. You
He
know?
didn't even talk to Congress. It
I
wasn't
know.
like he was kind of like poking
I
around.
know.
Maybe we were going to get there by next week, and maybe he jumped the gun. It was like, dude, he wasn't even talking to them. Like,
Yeah, I think the thing for me that is just like the most hardcore gestalt reaction to it is like, can one of these fucking bootlickers explain to me how this is America first? I mean, without twisting yourself. I mean, anything
you
can be
listen to
anything,
you listen to
but
some Fox News stuff or whatever, right? Like,
I
what are
did,
they
yeah.
saying? They must be saying something, because I'm
Okay, so
curious
here's
too.
here's what's really funny. I'm gonna give you. Here's what's really funny about this is that you go on, and I think this is becoming the new Republican strategy, which is when it's problematic, they just don't report it. So if you go and you look and you like scour news sources online, you will find like a grain of sand in the beach of the news on this issue is Republican news reporting. In fact, most of the reporting on Republican opinions that you see is coming from liberal news media, which is it's just kind of unbelievable to me that we can be do that something like this can happen, and the party that is in control of it happening there's no press conference. I mean, Trump obviously
Mhm.
talks fucking every minute of every day in some form or another, but you're just getting kind of written sound bites from Lindsey Graham and from other leaders in the Republican Party. They just didn't report it because it's hugely problematic. There isn't a lot of ways to justify it in the context of the framework that they themselves have set up of being focused on this country's issues.
So this is leading to my big worry here, Devin, which is that like I do think that this sets a precedent. The
It
fact of
does.
how immediately successful this was or appears to
Yeah.
be, right?
Yeah.
With like, I mean, we don't know exactly the details, but it seems like very few casualties.
Yeah.
Um, like dudes out.
Yeah.
We have the
He
runners
gone.
up already like coming into place, and like we have
Yeah.
videos of Venezuelans celebrating
Celebrating.
on the streets.
Yeah.
So
Which,
this like right now, as of reporting this moment, could not have gone better for Trump, and that is bad in a sense, in a way, long term, because this sets a precedent that like he's like everything he's done recently has been a success. Like he went to
yeah.
the bombing in Iran,
Yeah.
and then this. I don't
Yeah.
know what else exactly, but let's say those are big deals. But I think like, dude, already like has a god complex, and now he's gonna wake up thinking like, let's look at the map today, guys. Where else can we like, can I like overthrow and start running a new country, right? And that's not good because eventually he's gonna, I mean, for obvious reasons. Sorry, I don't have to spell this out, but like eventually he's gonna bump up against something that's gonna be a train wreck, like maybe
Dangerous.
a country
Yeah.
with like a nuclear weapon, you
Right.
know what I mean? And I don't
Yeah.
know, like this could potentially be very, very, very bad for all of humanity. Forget America, like with
Yeah.
Donald Trump in office with this much power, looking at a map, saying what's next. That's my big worry.
Yeah, and it's crazy too because it's like it isn't without precedent. This is exactly how the Iraq War started, and I remember it. I remember the day. I remember the day because it was a strike on a convoy of top political leaders, and I remember the feeling that I got. And I was probably like 10 or 11 years old or something like that. And it was the first thing on the news in the morning, and it was, oh, we've struck this convoy with these top political officials. And I remember my heart just kind of sinking into my stomach and thinking, wait a minute, this isn't the way that we're supposed to do this, and I think that it's like, how many times does this story need to be borne out that we're the freedom fighters and that we're liberating people from this and that? And I'm like, actually, what's interesting about it, I can litigate both sides of this because there is so many reasons why this was like a moral victory for Venezuelans, but an
Totally.
absolute logistical nightmare for Americans in like
Yeah.
every possible way. And this is exactly the scenario that we were in Afghanistan, in Iraq. This is the situation that we're propagating in the Middle East, where we actually are pretty good at going in and killing people. Right? Like that's just kind of like what America does best. We definitely are great at going in and fucking killing people and stealing, kidnapping them or whatever, whisking them away to a black site. The thing that we struggle with, and the thing that is probably as a result of the corporatocracy that we live in, is as soon as that job is done, there isn't really any framework outside of the United States to maintain a government that's not our actual government. And so it just crumbles into disrepair and decay immediately because it's tribal, it's warring factions.
There,
We don't have any
there,
answers to those questions.
there is a world where this isn't the Middle East. This used to be a very successful, very wealthy
Mm-hmm.
democracy that was
Mm-hmm.
only on the up and coming. It was only because of like
True.
ideology and like shitty leadership
True.
that turned around. Just
Yeah.
for the sake of history, I'm gonna play a clip,
Oh,
and
great.
then maybe we can comment on this, just because I'm fascinated by the question of what comes next, and this is kind of like, you know,
You heard old boy say we'll be managing the country until there's a transition of power, right? Like he actually explicitly said we will be running the country. And I'm
he
like,
did.
who
Yeah.
the fuck is we and what does running mean? There's no the political superstructure in that country is broken. You're just going to go in and super
At
glue
least for
it
me, you're
until
breaking up a little bit, Evan. I'm going to go ahead and play the clip because
play
I
it,
think I lost you. But okay,
run the
there
clip.
you go.
I completely trust the strategy President Trump is developing and his Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. They know very well with whom they're dealing with. This is not a legitimate president. This is the head of a criminal structure that was already defeated in a presidential election by landslide. So they know how to deal with these kind of individuals that are criminals, narco-terrorists. And I believe that Maduro will get a very clear picture of what are his options and what's the future for Venezuela.
What would be your message to Americans who are worried that this could become another costly foreign entanglement for them?
I believe it's exactly the contrary. Maduro started this war. President Trump is ending this war. A transition to democracy in Venezuela will make the Americas, including the United States, safer, more secure, and more prosperous. Because Venezuela, our country, has been turned into that safe haven for all those enemies, forces that want to undermine the institutions of the United States and also kill people in Venezuela and in your country. So we are solving and dismantling a criminal structure that has produced great pain and turned our country, our nation, into the best ally of the United States, a security shield for the Americas, and a huge opportunity for energy security as well. And one thing very important, Rachel, millions of Venezuelan migrants will come back home the day Maduro goes.
Tim Burton cast member, Tim Burton regular cast member Maria Machado weighs in while being literally.
Hey, that's not fair. That's not fair. She's doing her best.
It's not.
She's
fair.
been in
No,
hiding
that's
for like 2
that's
years.
horrible. If she wasn't such a dastardly character on the world stage right now, I dare not.
I don't know. I actually genuinely don't know if she's dastardly or if she's played her cards very smartly.
No, that's all it
Nobel
is.
Peace Prize.
That's all it is.
Well, no,
she's playing her hand.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, she's kissing Trump's ass at the exact. This is another reason why I don't like Trump, because like he's so easy to play. She's playing Trump so fucking hard, and that to me is like hilarious. A little bit
like a fiddle.
She wins a Nobel Prize and says like, "Oh, Donald Trump deserves this prize. I might give it to him." I was like, "Come on, dude, you're overplaying this. It's hilarious." So
I can't hear you with his balls in your mouth.
But it's like,
what the
Trump
fuck?
Is so pathetic that that's all you have to do, and then he's gonna overthrow your government because you kiss his ass like this much. And like she was the right person to kiss his ass, etc. Like it all just made so much. This was actually why I was kind of thinking that like he might do the regime change thing because of this Nobel Peace Prize, boondoggle that like.
I think that's part of it. I think the special interest sphere here is Miami Republicans, because nobody else gives a fuck about what happens in the Caribbean in this country except for rich people in Miami.
Marco Rubio.
Except for Marco Rubio and the people that live in the southern tip of Florida. No, it has no bearing on almost any other part of this country. Second of all, what is this McCarthy era, like Red Scare, like anti-communist, like that's half the rhetoric on the right is like, China and Russia have been in there stealing oil resources and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, this isn't 1955, guys. We're not really that worried about the spread of communism globally anymore. That's not a prime objective for the United States anymore.
Did you see this, Devin? Sorry to interrupt, but did you see this?
Please.
This was so fascinating to me. So just yesterday, there was an envoy from China that was hanging out with Maduro. And it's kind of like, this is another reason why this is so just entangled, because the world is entangled right now, right? And like, so China and Russia are like buddies, with Venezuela, because all the dictators all get along, I guess, apparently.
And they're neo-colonialists. they share that on the Venn diagram, is that both China and Russia are fully like open-throated neo-colonialist countries.
Yes. And favorite tweet of the day, I have to give this one to Pierce Morgan. This is just because this speaks to like a theme that I like to note online. So Russia, Putin's condemns the U.S. for its act of armed aggression, and Piers Morgan tweeted,
Dude, he got
just died, which is
his eyebrows. He got his eyebrows like freshly pulled out of his head just for that photograph. He doesn't even need a hat. He's got full sun protection.
That's great.
These fucking clowns, dude. I am incensed. I am totally incensed because and let me just be super clear about why. I think it is a huge victory for Venezuelans, a huge moral and political victory for them. Like, they were obviously under an oppressive regime that was in no uncertain terms a kleptocracy that was stealing money in every different way and allowing global powers to come in and siphon resources in an extra legal manner, blah, 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 blah. This is the part that would get me in trouble with the people that I live around. I don't give a fuck about Venezuela, dude. We got a lot of problems in this country. And the only part about Trump's platform that kind of speaks broadly to anyone at all is focusing on what is going on in this country and how we can deal with it. And this is absolutely insane to get embroiled in a foreign war in Central America. We've learned so many lessons about fucking around in Central America and destabilizing these governments. It doesn't create more stability in the region. What it creates is gaps in the power structure that allow for cartels and allow for cocaine production and allow for armed militant groups to come and occupy territory. Venezuela is, I mean, for everybody that's listening right now, because nobody knows how big this country is, go look on a fucking map. It is enormous. It's like half the size of Brazil. Like, this is a logistical governance nightmare, and it shares a border with Colombia. So obviously it's a huge drug trafficking haven, but it is absolutely not the tip of the spear in that conversation. And everybody knows it, man. It's just proximal to Florida. And I swear to God, that is kind of the alpha and the omega of why this is an issue right now, because guess what's in Florida? Fucking Mar-a-Lago, dude.
Yeah, I think that Donald Trump just treats the military as his big personal toy.
Totally.
And this was
and they're happy to do it. And they're happy to do
it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So next time there was an easy, shiny thing for him to be like, this is the Trump victory thing or whatever, that some other like peace prize thing comes his way, it's just like his toys go out and do their thing, and then he gets press conferences. And Devin, this is maybe a pivot. I don't know if you want to go here or not, but like, okay. Question hangs up in the air. No Epstein files.
Oh, this is huge. Venezuela? This is obviously possibly? Come on, brother. Can we please just all acknowledge collectively?
Like, I want to talk about that a little bit.
Well, and this is obviously, I mean, how many smoke screens and countermeasures does this clown have to pop out of the air shaft to distract everybody from these huge revelations that are coming through already in the unredacted documents that we've already seen stuff that is damning to him, damning. And there's supposed to be more stuff coming out. And so obviously the timing of this is crystal fucking clear. And I just want to say one more thing about the Venezuela thing. If America had a history of going in and tactically assassinating dictators and world leaders that were perpetrating terrorism on their people and followed through in a way that created a more equitable and egalitarian society for the people that live there, I actually probably would be on the other side of this conversation, because I think that for how many years was the refrain for Iraq and Afghanistan and all these different places where people have been terrible, like, can't we just send a sniper in there and just fucking pick this guy off? You know, can't we just send special forces in there? Do we really got to have 20,000 or 100,000 troops on the ground? There's 13,000 troops that are ready to go into Venezuela. 13,000 American military servicemen are waiting on the edges of Venezuelan waters and on the borders of Venezuela to go into this place. 13,000 dudes and some women too. I mean, this is insanity.
I saw some historian giving a take today about how, like, at some level you can't just topple the guy, you have to go all in. Like, this is the history lesson. You have to go all in on it or else it's going to be a failure. Sure. And so there's like, you know, Pinochet in Chile. You know what I mean? It's
Sure.
like he was done, and there was like other things took its place, and then they became rich again, like way richer than anyone expected them to be, and more successful than anyone expected them to be. Huge success story in Latin America. And the opposite of that, you know, is everywhere where we go in like half-assed and we just like take out a guy and then like vacuum and then like worse people come in. So yeah, like that's almost a scary thing too, because that kind of means that history lesson is you have to do boots on the ground, you have to control the country, and you have to put in like make stability, which again we can do. Like look at fucking Germany, look at like Japan. Like we actually are really good at this. If you totally 100% commit to it, and if the culture is amenable to it. And this is another thing that's maybe optimistic about Venezuela is like, dude, they're like fucking stoked.
They're stoked.
This motherfucker.
Yeah, they're stoked.
Like, to pivot back to like, they know that Chile is a success story. They know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're not, you know. So who knows? Who knows? But like.
Yeah, and I think the last thing I'm gonna say is read my lips. This was, and I said this on the podcast months ago. This is a training exercise for Mexico. This is a training exercise for Mexico, man. Yeah, dude. And he said it. He actually said it he said it this morning. He was like, something, Mexico better watch out because we're doing pretty good over here. And it's like, yeah, man, this is a training exercise for the subjugation of Central and South America. Mark my words.
Interesting. Okay, we'll put a mark in that. I'm not going to take you down that rabbit hole because we'll have a couple other topics today.
Yeah, I was mid-screed. Epstein.
Well, so this is interesting. I have this up on the screen that I don't know if you followed the CBS thing. I actually want to personally talk about the CBS situation. Maybe we can talk about that. But apparently they had another 60 minutes episode where they were going to talk about Jeffrey Epstein, and Barry Weiss apparently pulled it again. Okay, how much do you know about the Barry Weiss situation, and do you want to dive down that a little bit? 'Cause I have very big opinions on it.
Yeah, take me by the hand. Lead me to. I know a bit, but I know you know more.
Well, so just, you know, the basic story. Free Press is Barry Weiss, who I have done a lot of defending of over the years, and I've done a lot of like. So, for example, I many times, dude, like many times, I was gonna like rant about the Free Press and write articles about them and like comment on their shit, and then I would go to the Free Press because of their sycophancy towards Trump, because I would see tweets and shit. Then I'd go there, and then they had just dropped an article that was critical of Trump in the way that I wanted them to be, and I was like, oh shit, maybe I'll hold my tongue today. You know what I mean? That happened multiple times where I was like, I was so ready to be like, you guys, like, why you're kissing Trump's ass? I thought you were like against, you know, authorities and shit like this, mainstream authorities, and he is the mainstream, et cetera, et cetera. But then like they were always not as bad as I thought that they were on that particular point, and so I was kind of like biting my tongue. I've like been to a book reading, and I met Barry Weiss's wife, and we chatted for a while. She follows me on Twitter. Like, there are reasons why I'm kind of like into that crowd. I know people associated with them, and like I feel biased in a respect, but like when she was bought out effectively by Barry Ellison or David Ellison, joins CBS, where she doesn't really belong, isn't really truly qualified for that role, and she's put there specifically for a specific purpose,
right?
By the Ellisons. And when Trump is tweeting at the Ellisons saying, "I don't like it that you guys aren't nice to me,"
right,
and then she starts pulling stories that are critical of Trump.
Right.
Dude, if she wanted to keep people like me on her team, which she could have,
losing,
she shouldn't be acting like that. She should have been bending over backwards to criticize the like authoritarian fucking moron, evil-ish leader that we have. Yeah. Not like doing what you can to appease him because he's paying your. Okay, I have more to say about it that's less like angry, but like, let me get your thoughts first.
Yeah, it's just a bummer. It's a bummer to see. I mean, and I think we're in the first and it's a bummer, and I think we're in the first and second year blues, where Mark, and just like I predicted what would happen this first Trump year, and come on, tell me I was wrong, that he just gummed himself up by doing a bunch of dumb shit that puts him in a position where obviously they're losing the midterms. Year two, the tide's going to completely turn. But this year is still a year where everybody knows there's 3 more left. And I think that there's going to be an appeasement. There's going to be deep appeasements this year because it's the last year that he's going to have any functional grip on power, and he's not going to be a lame duck. I mean, he's going to be a mega lame duck after the next midterm cycle. And it's a bummer to see people bend the knee to power, you know, and it's really a bummer to see the kind of like core of journalistic integrity crumble in this country and be delegated out to like YouTubers and shit, because there is actually it sucks because there used to be a culture around journalism in this country. And look, nobody's saying that the big 3 news organizations didn't control the narrative, but there was at least, I mean, there's school where you can go to for journalism. And a lot of the point of that school is maintaining your adversarial relationship to power. Like that is actually at the core of the concept of journalism, is that no matter what power you're talking about, you have to maintain an adversarial relationship to it because it's mainly what you're reporting on. And it's crazy to see that that moral kind of fortitude in journalism crumble, and to be delegated to 22-year-olds on YouTube that, you know, it's like, it's pretty hard to trust, you know, kids to tell you the news. And, you know, it breaks my fucking heart, man. It really does.
One more note about the Barry Weiss thing, just because I want to get this off my chest a little bit.
Yeah.
Think of thoughts, man. Friend of the pod, unironic friend of the pod, Katie Herzog was discussing this on Blockchain Reported a couple of days ago, and she was defending Barry, and it was an interesting defense. So
yeah, let me hear it.
I'll lay it out and then I'll tell you why I don't think it's actually a good defense. But like, it was interesting to me because I really wanted to hear the other side because I was not hearing that anywhere else. So she said that she's written for the Free Press a number of times, and it is widely known and very common at the Free Press for Barry, very, very last minute, to pull a story and kind of in a sussy way not explain why exactly she's pulling it and give kind of like sussy editorial comments, right? Because that's just like her style. She just kind of like does that. And like, I get it. I've been an editor before, and sometimes you are just kind of like, fuck this story. I feel weird about it. We're just not gonna fucking do this. I used to publish like 60 to 70 articles a day as an editor at findlaw.com, where I had a team of writers, and sometimes I would just be like, this
big dog
fucking sucks. I just wouldn't publish it. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, and I didn't feel inclined to always justify it.
Sure.
Maybe that's a normal thing when you're just kind of like, but like, dude, okay, this is why I don't think that that's a good excuse here. Like,
this is the biggest story of our lifetime.
And like, and like, also, I did not think that Barry's reasons for why she was pulling the story were just that strong. Like, I kind of sort of get it. She said that they wanted to show the other side, which in general,
what the fuck is the other side?
I get it. But motherfucker, the other side here is Stephen Miller. We don't need to know his side.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, what is the other side?
Like, who cares? We know what their side is.
Like, is the other side, the only argument that could be in any fucking version of reality that we live in coherent is the idea that it would so greatly destabilize the halls of power that it would do something catastrophic to the economy. I mean, other than that, and that is such a weird grasping for straws. That's just me like desperately trying to steel man like what I could even imagine to be the other side of it. But like, everybody is crying for disclosure. Nobody wants to see pedophiles protected. And what is it? You know, I get my memes. I get my daily bowl of memes, Wheaties.
The real news.
The real news. And it was really interesting. One of the kind of pundits that I follow he's really sharp and he was on Fox News and he was, they were like, well,
do you mind if
I just started following him. I'll have to remember it and pull it up. I'll reference him next time on the pod because he's a fucking genius. I hope it's someone you hate too. There's no way. He's like he's way too good. And like the hosts were like, oh yeah, well, why don't you tell us what's wrong with America then? And he was like, okay, We've lost a sense of decorum in politics. Like we no longer measure respectability as an important metric in our political leaders. And I was just like, what happened to like literally 10 years ago, where if anybody even smelled that you maybe were in cahoots with somebody that was doing that kind of evil, you were immediately out of the run for any kind of politics ever. I mean, 10 years ago, you could yelp in a weird way and it would destroy your political future. You could have a weird soundbite and you never are going to be in politics again. So how is it that we see this guy in pictures with famed pedophile Jeffrey Epstein over and over and over again, and then the evidence keeps being consolidated and concretized, and it's like, but we don't actually need any of that evidence. We already know that this guy's a piece of shit because he was hanging around with one of the most notorious scumbags of all time. This is like a president. This is like JFK, like having regular social dates with like Al Capone or something. I know that's not the same time period, but I'm just saying, like, come on. But it does drive me absolutely insane where it's like, we're at this point where everybody's like, where's the proof? Where's the proof? And it's like, you don't actually need the proof. You don't need the proof. Everything you need to know has been right in front of you the entire time. So we don't need full disclosure on this stuff. We know this guy's a piece of shit. So what's the deal?
Yeah, there was a couple of details about the Epstein thing that I think are going to come out further. There was a guy who was helping run one of Trump's like pageants, and he dropped a video this week. I think this is all real. Who knows what the fuck is fake these days? But like, he dropped a video saying, "I'm not going to comment on this anymore, but like, here's what you all do, journalists. You go out and you research more about Trump's behavior at the pageants."
Yeah,
because he owned all of these pageants.
This is known,
and we all know.
This is all known.
We could get so many more details, but like, so much of him is like on tape being like, "Oh, I like having these pageants because I can
gives me
into
access.
the girls' dressing rooms
That's
when
right.
they're naked." And
that's right.
Like, okay, like you said, that's all we need to know. We don't need to know anything else.
There's nothing else you need to know.
There's that probably there are, according to this guy anyway, there's way more details in there that would like be gross. But then like you layer that on top of like him and Epstein did the pageant thing together, right?
Yeah.
Then we just learned that Trump was sending young girls to Epstein's house for massages, to give him massages. He was like hello, trafficking women to Epstein.
Man.
So that just came out. And then their buddy is going to parties in Miami and New York for years and years and years and years. And all of these accounts of these women saying like Jeffrey Epstein would have certain girls sleep with different people, etc. And like Trump was always there. And like it was Trump's ex-wife who told some girl and her mom, "Don't let your daughter buy Trump."
Right.
So like there's so much smoke, and some of this actually is fire, by the way. But there's so much else to say smoke that like you are absolutely right. We don't even.
We don't need to know anything more. We know everything we need to know. And
we need
look,
to know if he did like order the death of certain kids or whatever. Like there's crazy shit out there now that's like fucking insane. But like he killed people. Who knows? But like I do want to know more. But like yes, you're right.
I do too. But in the most extreme version of Republican or conservative contortionism, or even just Trumpism, right? Even the Trumpers, the most hardcore Trumpers. Is it excusable? I think it's like the only way I can imagine this being excusable is if like the economy's banging, we've got a great standing in the world, gas isn't $4.50. It's like 20 years ago, if gas went up $1, your presidency was shot. That was the main indicator of whether your presidency was going to float or sink was gas prices. Gas is high. Groceries are high. 50% of consumer spending is the top 10% of earners. We're on an AI bubble. In what dimension is this working? Is any of this working? And is the refrain that I keep hearing from conservatives like, oh, well, just give him time to do what, man? It's been a year and nothing positive has happened in this country. Not a fucking goddamn thing, man. So it's like, I guess in the most twisted version of reality, you could give him a pass for doing all of this philandering. And even if he didn't rape anybody, which he did, You
totally
could
did. Yeah.
he absolutely did. I mean, there's there's scores of women that'll testify in court that he raped them, right? And even if all of the things in America were just absolutely pimp dog, it would still be a fucking affront against the values that this country stands for. You know what I'm saying? Like at a core level. And I don't mean what this country does, because this country has always been about supporting rapists and murderers and shit. But the things that we say that we're about, but none of those things are happening. He's fucking up the country. He's getting us embroiled in another foreign war, and he's a convicted felon and an accused rapist. I mean, make it fucking make sense to me, somebody.
Okay, I just have one more thought, and it's a question to you, Devin, about the Epstein thing. Then I want to move on to another story. But
Sick.
So Republicans have always said that Trump is, oh God, I don't know exactly how to phrase this or whatever, but like the idea is like, so King David, right? He had, tons of concubines, et cetera, et cetera. But he's a great like leader of Israel or whatever.
Sure.
And they compare him to figures like that who are like corrupt in biblical times, like horrible people, very, very bad people. But then like they were still God's chosen one, right? To like do great things in the world. They've always said that. But at the same time, they've always held this, conservatives, I mean, they've always held this special place in their heart for the evils of the pedophile. And it's just so interesting that they're now like, okay with Donald Trump as their King David figure, who is like the vessel who can be bad, but like he's going to be like God's chosen one. But like, one, he's not doing good shit. Like the country's not like benefiting because of him.
Where are the receipts?
And, like objectively. And then two, now he's a pedophile king, and we all kind of know this. So that is all to say that specific like long-standing defense of Trump and his bad behavior seems like it doesn't hold up anymore, given what we're finding out.
The only thing that you can even try to look to as reasoning for this is that news is so unbelievable. And when we talk about news being siloed on this podcast a lot, right? We talk about how it's, it's deeply siloed. I think it's even more siloed than most people realize. I think that in Trump, in Trump voting and in Trumper, areas, they actually aren't even hearing any of these stories. Right? Because to us, this is Daily Mail, right? Like we hear this stuff in and out, in and out, in and out, to the point where it's fact for us. They hear it as they're hearing these things as outlier liberal anecdotes. They're not being bludgeoned with this information over and over and over again. They're in ecosystems of media that completely insulate them from the truth. And
you're right, but have you seen Trump's polling numbers? They're not good. So something's filtering through. True.
Well, a lot of things are filtering through. He's fucking up the country. It's like the whole, the ICE situation was an absolute fucking PR debacle. The National Guards in cities is great red meat for his base. Everybody else hates it. There's enough things that, speak to his base, but don't speak to the other 70% of people in this country, that it's a fucking disaster, man. It's a train wreck. Somebody, I hope that we get brigaded by Republicans in the comments that have something fucking smart to say, man. If any of you guys have hung on this far, I will go to war with you in the comments of this video, man. Please give me the opportunity to tear your dumbass apart.
Okay, so I got to get off Trump for a minute.
Why? We were having such a good time.
and Epstein, I know. I guess technically I could rail about him all day. But there's a situation that involves a former guest on the pod, and it's actually a big deal. So, and I probably this isn't like major news or whatever, but it's
okay in
our world. And you probably not heard about this, but let me introduce you to a controversy.
Please.
Have you heard of
being sued by Matt Taibbi?
Yes. So Owen Higgins. Have you heard about this?
No.
So Owen Higgins was a guest on the pod about a year ago. He had a book that was called Owned, and it was about how all the billionaire class bought all these people on the political left, and so suddenly they're all doing right-wing talking points. And so he had chapters about Glenn Greenwald, and he also focused a lot about on Matt Taibbi and a couple
Sure.
of other people. And it's
Yeah.
the same sorts of people that we kind of gripe about every
Yeah.
now and then, that like, what happened to your brain, dude? That sort of shit.
Yeah. Is anyone surprised that pundits are for sale?
Yeah, right. So Matt Taibbi sued him for $1 million over this book.
Oh,
And
wow.
so there's this big,
Pussy.
you know, my thought exactly, which is just
Come
hilarious.
on.
But yeah, I mean, I want to talk about it a little bit today, just because I feel like this is yet again is another story about how like weird journalism is right
Yeah.
now, because
Yeah.
it's kind of like
Journalism.
we have this whole thing where Matt Taibbi, but also everybody who's like not exactly mainstream media, but like is mainstream media adjacent, they go on this high horse about free speech. And it's not free speech necessarily like, you know, Second Amendment or First Amendment free speech, but like free speech as in like the broad thing, like you can say whatever you want and get away with it. Like that's like a theme post 2020. Everyone wants it.
Yeah.
But then like
right and left.
Everyone is such a hypocrite, including Matt Taibbi.
It's so crazy.
So little love for it these days. But like him especially is like, really, dude, you're going to sue another journalist because he made this argument that, like, for example, you, Matt Taibbi, went on Twitter and specifically said to Elon Musk, I've gone out of my way not to criticize you. It's like, come on. Like, you're opening yourself up to this. Maybe you're not bought and maybe you're not owned. No one was taking that literally anyway. And you're going to sue him for $1 million over this. It's just so disappointing and pathetic, I think. And it's
also so funny to watch like the impotent rage of the wealthy and powerful, because it's like, well, you don't live in England, dumbass. Like, that's not going to work. We don't have libel laws here. You know, maybe you'll get a defamation judgment.
He's a public figure, so yeah, it has to be like knowingly and with malice.
Yeah, right? Which is like, which in this country is the bar is so high. Is so unbelievably high. What's funny about this is that there's such a tone deafness, such a color blindness to like the way that the public interprets things. Like, did you think people were going to receive this well? That you, a journalist, is suing someone for basically for free speech? Like, what is it? And do you need the $1 million? I mean, because you don't need the $1 million, Matt Taibbi. You don't. And if you do get this judgment and you do get the $1 million, like what is that? What is it doing for you? Who's on your side here?
Fans like this?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, who's this for? Because it's not for the $1 million. But what I think it is that people get into these into these little water wheels in their own mind. They live in this little fucking fantasy world with them and their little friends, man. And everybody's telling them, oh, it's so fucked up what he did to you. You know, you got to do something about it. And that I honestly think there could not be any other motivation, because this is so embarrassing. This is so embarrassing in every conceivable dimension. It is so cringe to sue somebody for calling you a dumbass. It's like, hey, guess what? We get to do that in this country, man. You're an idiot. Like, I'll say it. Pete will say it. We'll say it right now, man. But you're not coming after us. Why? Because it's
here's
not
the
getting
thing.
to you.
When you are a journalist and you have Matt Taibbi's platform and your job is to write content, dude, this is content. Say like, hey, this guy wrote a book about me. He's a moron. Here's why.
Right.
And you write your essay. Maybe you write a string of essays about it, and then you have a lot of content, and you get more money for it. Like, dude,
and that actually buys you the cachet to have a rebuttal, right? Because this isn't. I mean, it's
also, dude, be the bigger person. Have him on your podcast and like talk it out like a real ass fucking like man to man. You know?
I know, man. Just
his ego is that like delicate, and he can't. Oh God.
Well, brother, you ever met men in this country? They're pretty fucking fragile, man.
I do know. I know one thing about this situation, which is I do think that like the world of journalism at some level is kind of small, and so Owen Higgins worked at The Intercept, for example, and I think that like he has some story where he I know he knew Glenn Greenwald, but like kind of knew Matt Taibbi too. I think that like these people, it is like a little social club. And this probably has nothing to do with like the actual text of the lawsuit. I think that it's just like he doesn't like Owen. I think
it's just a fuck you.
Probably hates his guts, and this is like he wants to make his life hell. I think
But
that's
just
it's not
just
principled.
say
It's just
fuck
kinda like, fuck
you.
this guy. I know,
Just say
right?
fuck you.
Right?
Like lawfare is one of the biggest problems in this country. You know, it's like just because you have enough money to file a lawsuit, I mean, there really does. I mean, it's a tough thing about this country because litigation does keep a lot of shit on the rails in this country in a way that it absolutely does not in other countries. But lawfare is such a fucking problem here, man. There's got to be some set of cultural values around like shaming people who launch frivolous lawsuits. But then it's crazy because you look at the president of the United States and his main argument is, oh, these people are trying to get me. This is lawfare. And some of it's true. Some of it is lawfare on him. Some of it's absolutely legitimate and real, you know, but it just is crazy. It's crazy to be so cloak and dagger and like so surreptitious about the way that you move through like culture as a public figure with a spotlight on you. Like you need to take this little back channel way to kind of try to like, I don't know, bleed someone of money that's not even fucking important to you. Like what a bizarre man. What a bizarre little man.
I did go back and I listened to my interview with Owen Higgins because again I interviewed him about this book and we talked a lot about Matt Taibbi, and I went back and listened just to make sure I didn't say anything. There's like, is Matt gonna fucking sue me? You know, like, and I barely actually said anything. I mean, it was actually interesting to me that Owen Higgins.
Peter, I'm praying that Matt Taibbi sues you. Do you know what that would do for this podcast?
For this podcast, right? It would probably help.
We would make $1 million off that.
But
please sue me, Matt Taibbi.
Well, hey, get ready. But yeah, it was kind of interesting because listening to Owen Higgins, I like him and I like his book, but like he is like an ideological type of person. He's very quite like lefty, and his mind is kind of like closed a little bit, I think, to counter narratives. Not that I even remember or know if he got anything wrong in regards to Matt Taibbi, but like I can see that he he did do more like ideological perspective speak rather than like journalism speak.
Yeah.
Which also does bug me a little bit about the journalist class today, in that like it's not like academic rigor standards.
Oh, there's not even like feigned
there's
veracity.
A lot of petty shit. There's a lot of even from like the best people, it's very petty.
It's also a lot of non-story stories where I'm like, tech billionaires bought the loudest voices on the left. I'm like, I don't know. Tell me something new, dog. I'm like, people have been like, political voices are for sale in this country. And until we reform campaign finance laws and the laws around political speech in this country, that's always going to be the case. That's not really a story. There's really no there.
Journalism doesn't pay very well. You know what I mean? So,
true.
So there we go. And,
need them clicks.
But I mean, kind of like at the same time, I don't know. There's something. Wow, I just lost my train of thought. I had this like great point I was gonna make. Oh God, anything else about lawsuits and Matt Taibbi? Maybe my thought will come back to me.
just like you know, as two talking heads ourselves, you know, with a modicum of journalistic integrity, it's hard for me to weigh in on this, but I do just need to. I'm craving some kind of centralized journalistic structure again. Something that can, I mean, honestly, brother, it's funny because how many times I've wanted to dovetail this back into AI, but I haven't because it's such an instinct on the pod. But it's another thing that's going to be kind of settled case law, you know, like by AI. Like there is going to be veracity at some point in the next 10 years. Like there will be objective truth and an ability to measure it. And it's going to come not from us because it's not a mystery. It's like facts are not fucking subjective. Opinions are subjective, but those two things have ecosystems of their own. And right now, because humans are so complex and because we have the ability to do these cognitive gymnastics and backwards justify all of these different things, like those two ecosystems are completely contaminated with one another right now, but they will be separated out again because there are hard facts. There is science. There is things that are happening and things that are not. And then there's a whole bunch of opinions that are layered on top of that stuff. But right now, who's got a way to listen to this podcast? You know, we're just two guys trying to sort through the fucking mess of papers and draw some conclusions that are helpful to ourselves and to others. And I think if more people had this kind of investigative, feeling about things and weren't presenting themselves as journalists, but more as people that are sorting through the data and drawing broader conclusions about, what's going on in the world, linking things, linking narratives, that is really helpful. And but it is also sad that it's podcasters that are giving you the news. It's crazy. We have news organizations. We have multi-billion-dollar organizations that are built in this country to give you the news, and they absolutely refuse to do it on principle. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is just a people problem because everyone has their biases.
Yeah.
This was my experience when I was back working at Fine Law, doing some kind of like low-key journalism, or like having a team of writers, being the editor. There were certain stories that I had to run that I knew were false, like literally false. Because
Crazy.
my boss had a certain lefty perspective, and I couldn't go against my.
There's a lot of ends justify the means that always comes in journalism.
To mind is we ran an article about the guy, the Google engineer, and how he had written or done some thing about like why aren't there more female coders at Google. And he did his little study and like published it as an email to the team. But people have different interests, and like women just by and large aren't as interested in coding. It's like this very like milk toasty, obvious taste. But then he got fired for that, and it was like he was a big misogynist and like what a sexist asshole. And like we were saying that around the office, and like I had to literally, I'm so fucking sorry to the world, but like I had to parrot that too, and I had to publish an article. I would not have written it, but I had to publish it. About what a horrible guy he was and how you can't say these things. And like literally in 1 year while I was publishing this shit, I was listening to like that guy talking to Joe Rogan about like standing up for himself. And so I was still like not on board with like this narrative that I was a part of. And like that's what all these news organizations are totally like that. The writers half the time aren't on board with what they're writing, because somebody up there, somebody whose ass you have to kiss to get your paycheck, has some bug in the ear about like, oh, this is racist or something. You know what I mean? It's
or they just have like a nihilistic ends justify the means conversation with themselves in their heads, where they go, well, this story isn't necessarily true, but we're in such a right-leaning narrative right now. We need to start sloshing back towards like a left narrative. And so like by publishing this far left story and getting people, we can start to move the tide back, or like, I think there's a lot of that thinking. And then there's just a lot of sick people. There's just a lot of people that are not media literate, that are not internet literate, that are not news literate, that never will be and never will have a reason to be. And unfortunately, the bar in American society now for knowing the truth is being educated. And I'm not talking about being in a school, because you can educate yourself in any different dimension now, but you can't just be some fucking geek on the street and know the truth anymore, man. You have to have the skill to sort through the news to find the truth, which is crazy. That's like way too high of a bar for like 80% of normal Americans, man. It's like, that's too much. So I don't know what the answer is. I think the answer does end up being something that is probably algorithmic or automated, or, general intelligence that's able to give us a deeper perspective on like world events, political events, how things are moving. I think once we have a grip on systems architecture in kind of a broad sense, we're going to be able to draw a lot of conclusions that we just never had before, man. I want to pivot to one thing. Can I pivot to one thing?
Oh, please.
So just because we're talking about AI, and I've been really into alien disclosure lately, which I'm very curious. I don't know if we have time to like bear it out. I don't know how much time you have, but I have two thoughts kind of on alien visitation disclosure. I would like to know where you stand, if you think aliens are real, and if you think they're going to tell us about them anytime soon. And then I have kind of a tangential thought on what AI is going to do for us in terms of looking at the stars. But first, I want to know if you think aliens are real.
I'm just gonna go no.
No.
I go back. I go back.
Take
I
in
go back and forth
2025.
on it. I go back and
Yeah.
forth on it, but it
Okay,
is
okay, at least.
okay. So well, this is the thing. You say like insane in 2026. Fact check.
Oh, sure, that's right.
Dude, like that same narrative was. Do you remember in 2018 when you and Sam were in my apartment in San Francisco and we were
Yeah.
talking about the same thing? Dude, in 2018, how do you like all those
Right.
stories?
Sure,
Ancient
sure.
history, it all went nowhere. And look,
Okay.
my whole entire life, I was gonna say adult life, but literally my whole
Yeah.
entire time on planet Earth, including as a child, there's always
Yeah.
been that, like, oh my God, this just happened in the Senate, or oh my
True.
God, did you see what the New York Times just posted?
True.
CNN has this all, like
That's
my
right.
whole fucking life, and then
Yeah.
like we're still at ground zero, literally ground zero. 2
Kind
years
of.
later,
Kind
but
of.
like literally.
No, because there's now been like you know,
But there
I
was
think that
back then, and it went nowhere. You know.
no, there
Oh,
right
shit,
now
hold on, you
there's
glitched. Is it the aliens? Did they hear us?
am I yes, it's actually China. I don't know if you've noticed, but
Devin?
all of yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
No, I'm glitching.
Peter,
Shit.
are you glitching? I'm glitching. How are we doing? Is anyone still with us?
It's China. Okay. All right.
Have you
Hey, can you hear
noticed
me?
that all yeah, oh yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Peter? Peter.
It might be my internet in the storm.
Peter.
That probably is it.
Pete. Are you there, Peter? Peter, are you there? Peter, are you there? Peter's not here anymore. So I'm gonna go direct to camera. I'm going to soliloquy straight to cam since we're still live. Aliens are real. No, I don't know if aliens are real, but I do think that we're kind of coming up on a time where disclosure is somewhat imminent. There's definitely some weird stuff happening in the sky and under the water, and there has been, by all accounts, for kind of thousands of years. It's not necessarily true that, oh, did we fully lose Pete? Oh my God. Well, that makes me kind of want to end the stream. But I'll close on this because we'll see if we can get the Peter back. I do think that there is a preponderance of interesting evidence that has mostly been civilian until recently. And now you got a lot of kind of like pitted in the old barrel-chested masculinity type. Oh, do we get Peter back? Peter back. I want
I'm
my
back.
Peter back, Peter back,
Dude,
Peter back, Peter back. I
like-
want my Peter back, Peter back, Peter back.
Here.
Peter's
There's
baby
a little
back
storm. I think
ribs.
the storm is fucking with my internet.
Barbecue sauce.
Hey, right.
Hey, buddy.
am I back?
Are you back? You're back for me, yeah. Are you back for you? Uh-oh. Well,
You're glitching.
I think am I glitching? You're not glitching. You're good. You there? Well, I think we might be approaching terminal
Yep, I'm
velocity.
here.
Oh, he's there. Can you hear me? Peter?
I can hear you. Your screen
Can
is
you?
glitching a little bit. Yep.
Yours is going a little slow, I'll say. It's on the slow side.
Oh,
It's
shit.
on the slow side, but I can hear you.
Yeah.
I think you're
we'll have
back.
to wrap
Are you
up.
back? I know. I think so too. I think we've had enough debacle, enough technical debaculating for this situation. They're coming for us. No, I'm just kidding. I do think that they're probably, and at some level, there's something strange going on, and I think that disclosure is some. Oh, hello, Peter. Is there going to be a second Peter? Hi.
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, are you here? Am I
think
here?
might be back. Yeah, you're here.
I'm back.
Okay. Might be back.
Hey, she's back.
Let's try to wrap up in 5 or 10. There's this like super windy, and I think my internet's like being fucked up by it.
If we
but-
glitch out one more time, I'll just end. I've
I'll
been
just drop off.
vamping. I've been
Okay,
vamping for you. All right, so check it out. I mean, here's the deal. Here's my two. Here, I'll wrap this into a bow quickly because we should do like a whole episode on this. For a long time it was civilian, and I think it's easy to discount people. But one of the things that's kind of changed over the last 5 years is that a lot of kind of like barrel-chested masculine dudes who are obviously embarrassed to be saying something that's so anathema to like military thought, have come forward. Pilots, generals. I mean, all kinds of people that are dealing with the sea and the airspace in a functional and tactical dimension are coming forward and saying, man, there's just some very strange things happening that nobody seems to have an explanation for, that none of our technical understandings seem to justify. And we don't really know what it is, but it's clear to us that it has nothing to do with the level of technology that we are currently at. Now, that being said, obviously, the United States is always like 50 years ahead on the technological curve. And so maybe we've got crazy stuff in the pipeline that we don't know about until 20 or 30 years from now. But I think the military starting to be pro-disclosure and trying to understand what the tactical implications are of all of these like very high speed, very invisible, at times, devices and vehicles in the skies and in the oceans. I mean, they need to know, and I could think about a lot of things that it could be, but it seems like it's a concern for people at the top, and they're starting to filter it down to us. So I don't know. That was kind of my turning point. My final point is this. I was talking with someone about it the other day, and I think that we are on the precipice of having, because we don't need AGI to do this, we are probably on the precipice of understanding orders of magnitude more about the universe, because we collect more data than we can understand. And that's kind of always been true. We have a preponderance of scientific data about the stars. It's the interpretation of that data that's tricky for us. And I think that it's got to be coming up in the next 5 to 10, the next 2 to 5 years, that some kind of narrowband artificial intelligence is going to analyze the data that we've collected about the universe and start drawing some pretty interesting conclusions that we hadn't thought of yet. What do you think about that?
I actually totally agree with that. I think
Right?
that this is something that is. This is something like this. This is mildly tangential, but in my writing, whenever I write like an essay or a novel or something like that, this is how you create something new. Is you take two things that have never been put together before and you smash them together, and like it creates something new. And I have like a long list of essays that I've thought about writing before, but they're all too like technically challenging. So I've never in literally any of them, but I've got a lot of these about like, what if you combine this theory with this theory? What happens?
Yeah.
What do you get out of it? And like AI can just do it. It just, right. And not like as a shitty like B- essay like I would do, but like it can actually do the thing. And that whatever you create there, it can take you to a new place. So I do think that that's something that is going to come out of AI that no one appreciates how kind of like cool that will be in terms of like culture, but also science and
it's
also
gonna be earth-shattering.
physics. Who knows? You know what I mean?
There's all of these things that we guess, there's all of these ways that we guess through radio spectroscopy, through infrared, through, like mechanical visual means, because we're accounting for this and the lensing effect of that. And we're looking at the atmosphere of this and trying to understand how these things are all interplaying. But we've reached a limit as humans to understand complex systems. Like we're there. We're at the absolute apex of human evolution in understanding complex systems. We need something to start helping us chunk down and digest some of this complex systems theories and cosmology, the way that universe has been constructed. Shit changes all the time because people are reinterpreting the data that we already have. Please, 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 just put an AI to work on this stuff and give us something cool to think about. I mean, if you tell us that there's life on a planet, or there was 10 billion years ago, even if it's in a different galaxy, do you know how much joy that would give the human race? Just to know that there's somebody else out there. I mean, give us a little, just give us a Tootsie Roll, man. We don't need the Halloween candy. We
this
just
is
need
the
a snack.
This is the thing we talk about on this podcast. But do you know I think it's called the Tartaria theory or conspiracy theory? Do you know about this?
Is it? No, go ahead.
Maybe. I only know about this because it was Derek Thompson talked about it on his podcast, Plain English, recently, and I'm writing about it right now. But there's this conspiracy theory that there was this ancient civilization and it built all this amazing shit, like the pyramids, et cetera, like these amazing structures. And then there was a massive flood, wiped it all out. and now there's this conspiracy that like all the governments in the world like try to destroy any information about it and keep it secret from us because we can't do all that cool shit that like that previous civilization could. And Derek Thompson says it's like he doesn't think of this as a conspiracy, he thinks it as a joke, like something that's like commentary. And that like we are surrounded by these magnificent things that were built in the past, like the Golden Gate Bridge, for example. I mean, like so many things just like that. We tell ourselves we could build that again. Could we really? It probably would be like the California high-speed rail, where it'd be like, it's been 10 years, who's dropped $20 billion, or the public lost faith. So sorry, Golden Gate Bridge isn't getting built. That's what actually would happen if we tried to build the Golden Gate Bridge today, right? We just like it fucking would. It's pathetic, but it would. And so we live in this society right now where we pretend like we could do all these things that our ancestors did.
Right.
Not including like the pyramids that we still don't know exactly even how to do it, right? But like we just build these boring glass structures and nothing awe-inspiring ever. We just don't do it. So my point being, this is what I think that we should try to do with the unharnessed powers of AI and technology and wealth that might be coming our way, is like just build shit that's awe-inspiring again. Because we have literally lost the ability and the will to do that. And I think that could, I don't know, rejuvenate humanity in a very exciting way if we just got back to building awe-inspiring shit. Even if it's a fucking shitty cathedral to like some AI god or something like that. You mean like, give me something that's like inspiring.
Yeah, and stop worshiping at the altar of quant. You know, I mean, we're such a quantitative, qualitative obsessed society where we really just cannot get off the scientific tit. And like realistically, obviously, it's the reason that we're at the place that we're at. But what's very clear to anybody that has studied anthropology or any kind of humanistic science of the past, that there was technologies thousands of years ago that were non-mechanical. Like there is spiritual technology, there is, there's intellectual technology, there's technology that has to do with nativism and naturalism and stewardship of ecological resources. There's technology that has to do with understanding the stars that has nothing to do with telescopes, and there is things that we feel that we can't quantify, right? It's like we don't know whether consciousness is emergent or whether it's something else. We don't know a lot of these things that would actually help us answer some of these deeper questions about what motivated these ancient societies. So I think, hopefully all of these things start dovetailing at some point in the future, and we get back to a place where we're not replacing religion with science in the same kind of evangelistic and fervored way where it's like, oh, well, scientists, believe the science. And it's like, dude, scientists will be the first people to tell you, don't fucking do that. Question the science. Science isn't a religion. It's not even a philosophy. It's a method, and there's this weird adherence to the results that it produces now because they seem so certain that you feel like you can grasp them in your hand. But we lived most of our civilized lives as human animals without it. And we were doing pretty cool shit for a lot of that time. It's like we gotta start joining the worlds again, guys. I think AI is going to help. I think it's going to be it'll be the first person to tell us, okay, like some of that stuff's real, some of that stuff's not, and some of the stuff you don't think is real is, because there seems to be fundamental forces that are out of our control and beyond our understanding. So please, I just want it to happen now. I don't want it to get iPhoned. I don't want AI 2.83. I want to know the fucking answers soon, before societal collapse, preferably.
I think that this has been a theme, but like I think that 2026 is going to be the year when radical things start actually taking shape. Maybe on the next episode, I want to talk about that documentary, The Thinking Game. Just recently watched it. I definitely recommend it. And that's something that I think that, because that is like Demis Hassabis, the guy who founded DeepMind. He is doing that. He wants to create AI that's like a true AGI. He wants to create that like explicitly. And
they already have it.
Do it, or probably. I think now they probably do.
Come on, they've already.
But
got
also,
it.
he wants to just do shit that benefits humanity.
Good.
And that's like the thing that you keep coming back to, which is like totally true. And like, man, he scratched that itch for me so hard. Like listening to him talk in this documentary, and yeah, let's do like a little take on that documentary and how he and maybe people like him are scratching that itch that we both have.
Let's do it. Let's litigate the usefulness of AI in our current culture, because I think it's dastardly that people are making music with it and not solving some of the bigger problems. Like, fuck that. That's a brain drain. You know?
Like I mean, Xeon Lights also, when I was talking to her on the pod a couple of weeks ago, she was saying the same thing about how like there are all these amazing, unprompted by the way, all these amazing things are coming out of AI
Fan of the pod.
that no one's talking about. And her example was in I think it was in India. They now have like this AI based tool, like doctors' offices, where in villages where they don't even have doctors' offices, they have like these tools now, where tuberculosis is a really big deal. You know, in a country with like millions and millions of people, 1 billion people, right?
Yeah.
It's a huge deal. And so now they have like this AI tool thing that's really cheap that you cough into it and tells you if you have TB. And like,
let's go.
That's amazing. Right?
We love that.
Certain technologies like that only exist apparently because of AI. Like that's fucking tight. I'm all here for that sort of exact
full speed ahead on systems, on complex systems understanding. That's it. You know, leave the simple creative stuff to people. You don't need to decode music. It's not that fucking.
Leave Venezuela to
leave
our
Venezuela
Lord, King
alone.
And Savior, to Donald J. Trump. He's gonna put his name on it. He's gonna be their God King. It's okay. It's written in the sky. The alien said that it's happening. It's all good.
The maybe the only way out is through, and potentially this is a huge win for the Venezuelan people and kind of a minor loss for the American economy, which would be great because it would make Trump look like
they get a new God King and we get the oil. It's a good deal. I'm being cynical.
Me,
all right, man, I got to wrap it up. We'll talk again soon.
Bye, Pete.